Welcome to the Build Your Beautiful Business podcast with your host, Julie C. Butler. If you're looking to build the business of your dreams, then this is the space you want to be in. Join Julie as she talks about ways that you can successfully scale your profitable dream business, one that will give you ultimate time freedom and the abundant lifestyle you deserve. Julie will take you by the hand, sharing with you her business savvy strategies as she chats it up with her favorite online entrepreneurs. You'll get a weekly dose of boosted confidence as you learn as they reveal their insight, tips, and tools that you need to start building a profitable dream business of your own, one that you'll love and that works for you on autopilot.
Hey there, welcome back to the BBB podcast. I'm your host, Julie C. Butler. Today, we have my beautiful friend, Lindsay Maloney. Lindsay is a beautiful business coach. She is also the host of the top-rated podcast, Book Your Dream Clients, and she is a homeschooling mom of 3. Lindsay helps women coaches create 6-figure businesses by building out their signature offers and designing dreamy clients packages without the busy work. Hi there, Lindsay. Welcome back to the show. I'm so excited to have you here. This is the second time you're on the podcast.
I know. Thank you for having me on again.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You know, it's funny because a few weeks ago, I was getting emails from, you nurture your email list, right? So sometimes you get replies and people share, their struggles or what they're going through, or some of the steps they want to achieve in order to get to where they want to be. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is a good podcast episode idea. And who better else to talk about it than Lindsay?
Well, yes, I'm happy to talk about it and maybe bust some myths for your people.
Yeah. So I think today is more of a conversation versus having a topic and talking about a topic. I think I really wanted to touch on some things or some myths or whatever you call them about, becoming a successful entrepreneur, whatever that looks like. And I think the first thing I wanted to touch on was sometimes we sit at our desks and we want to start a business, or we want to become a coach, or we want to teach or, train other people to do that thing that we're so passionate about doing. And sometimes we just don't know how to start, right? So what do you think it takes to start your own online business these days?
Well, that is a huge question. And
yeah,
I think the first thing that's going to drive you to start is you're just really curious, because maybe you're following somebody online who you might have followed them for advice for, like a health coach, for example. You might have followed them because you really enjoy their tips. And then you start on your own journey, and then you're like, hey, they have a business that actually does what I just did. That makes me think a little bit like, how could I make this work for myself? So you're curious, heck, how do you make this happen? And I think curiosity is such an important aspect of starting a business, because when you're curious, you're so brave, and you're like, I don't care, I'll just figure it out, right? I love resourceful and curious coaches, because if you just start because you want to make money, it's going to be yes, that's a part of it, but it's not the reason why we start our businesses. It shouldn't be, because if it is, it's going to be kind of a rough road and really lonely. So curiosity, you're really brave, and you're just it's like a relationship. Think back when you started dating your husband, and I'll think back when I started dating my husband, 20 years ago. It was so fun because we could talk about the future and oh my gosh, we should do this. And I didn't know that about you. And everything is so new and fresh, and holding on to that as you explore the things of business that are oh, so I have to keep track of my money. Oh, so I need to have a website. Oh, so I need to have this and that. You learn those things as you go. But if you keep wearing that bright-eyed and bushy-tailed face, everything really falls into place really easily. So I think that's a really important personality trait to have when you're starting your business, and then just open to learning from as many people as you can, and then picking somebody like this person is my person, and either learning from them privately or in their group setting is such a great way to fast track your entire journey.
I agree. I especially with that last part. And because, when we're kind of in the beginning phases of, starting our business or becoming a coach or whatever that is for you, if you're listening to this, we're all over the place, right, Lindsay? Like I hired you to be my coach. What is it now, 5 years ago? And I was all over the
Yes.
place, right? I didn't know if I was coming or going, what a freebie was. And like I was so disorganized. I didn't know because we don't know what we don't know, right? So getting the help, or whether that's, from a group coaching program or a coach, private coach, or even sometimes it can be smaller containers, but following like kind of like having a plan and following the road to get to where we want to go is very important, because if without that, I think that sometimes we can really get lost, and then we get frustrated, and then we get stuck, and then sometimes we don't even start what we wanted to start in the first place, right?
Yes, and you start absorbing information from too many people. And what happens is you get a lot of conflicting information because I built my business differently than she did. Everyone built their businesses differently. And you're pulling from, lots of different opinions and methodologies. And it can feel like, well, I don't even know where I want to start here. So when you're overwhelmed, you go into that state of mind where you're like, I need to either stop this or I need to find a way out. And it's kind of like a do or die kind of situation. I think like it's not fair to say when you start a coaching business, you need to invest right away. I don't think that's a fair statement because some people just don't have the funds to start. But there are so many great resources out there just from like finding one coach out there and just absorbing everything that she has or he and using what they have. But the way to get there is to really like immerse yourself into their world in one way or another, whether they're really present on social media or on a podcast or their website, you feel really connected to them. I think learning from people you feel connected to is important because they have something in common beyond the business. It's their lifestyle, their values, etc.
I love that. And Lindsay, you have exactly that. Like you have so many free resources available for us. And you have, your podcast, and you're very active on social media. Like you're always serving free stuff. Like you're not afraid to overshare. And that's one thing that I love about you is that, I remember when I first found you, it was so easy for me to submerge myself in the content that you give to us so gracefully, right? To help us, because that's what you're in it to do, to help female entrepreneur build a business, become a coach and make their dreams a reality, right? So I think that you're right. Finding someone you align with, and then instead of following 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 different people who have 10 different opinions about the way we should do things, or they, whatever that is. And then you're kind of like, you get paralyzed because you're comparing, you don't know what to do. Should you do it this way? Should you do it that way? And it can paralyze you, right? Like I was kind of in that place a little bit at the beginning. I was comparing myself, and often I would catch myself being like, oh, should I do it like this person then? Or should I do it like that person, right? And so what I found for me, what I did was I unsubscribe and I unfollowed the noise and focused
Mm-hmm.
only on the person or the two people who I aligned with, to kind of follow their lead. Well, not follow their lead because you want to make your
Yeah.
own path, um, but I love that what you've said.
Well, we can find all the answers on Google. But the reason why we choose to either invest in somebody or choose to really sit at their feet and learn is because we resonate with more than what they teach. Because what everyone teaches is kind of the same thing. And we kind of know it in the back of our heads, like, that's what I should do. But I just like the way that she teaches it. I like the way her business is styled. And you kind of grasp onto those things if that person does a really good job with it.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I love it. So listen, I'm going to ask you this question, and I'm sure there's some people listening who think this, or maybe there's some people who are newer at the beginning of their business and they're like, is it too late for me? Am I too late? Like, should I have gotten on the train like a year ago to have a successful global online business? What do you say to that?
No, I mean, there's always going to be problems out there to solve. Like yesterday wasn't the day all the problems were solved, and it's too late for you. I don't care how old you are, how skilled you are, or whatever. If you feel the call to start a coaching business because you have something you want to share and your journey is really helpful for people, then go ahead and start. Like it doesn't matter. Like I follow people who are, you know, who have just started, who are older than my mom or even my grandma at one time. And it's like, that's amazing. I remember telling my grandma, I said, there's a lady who follows me and who has invested in me, and she's older than you are. And she's like, what? All I know how to do is go on Facebook. That's amazing. I think that like that's even more admirable to jump in when you feel like it's too late, because there's a piece for everybody, and there are billions of people in this world. And we know there's a lot of problems out there. And if we can help solve a few of them a day by just throwing out a post or putting out a program or coaching, why not? Like, if you feel the call to do that, I think you should really listen to it.
I agree. I love that so much. And also, there's only one of you, right? And we all have a new unique approach to teaching or coaching the thing that we want to coach about. And so people will resonate with you because of who you are, right? And so nobody can teach that, how you are, right?
No, they can't. And that's why one of the next phases in starting a business is you could be living a double life. Like you're this person because you immersed yourself too deeply into their world, and now you sound like this person, and you sound like this person over here because you're not confident with who you are. So the next step in that journey, when that curiosity might start to waver, it might start to fade a little bit because you think you know what to do, but in order for me to do it, I need to wear her costume because she did it this way, so I need to be her. And so we get into that double life predicament where we're one person online and then offline we're this. And I always say to my clients, if your clients walked in right now, would they be like, oh, of course she's doing that, of course she's saying that, of course she's feeling this, of course she's reacting this way, because you're you everywhere? If you ran into me at the grocery store, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's Lindsay when she's online. I don't live a double life. I don't go all out with. Here's a perfect example. I recorded a bunch of new videos for my signature program, Standout Coaching Academy. And the first thought in my head was like, I should, order like a new shirt. So it's like, it's nice and bright and pretty. And I should wear this and whatever for my videos. And then that morning I went and picked out my shirt. I'm like, I always just kind of wear a sweatshirt or a cardigan. I'm not going to wear something totally random that doesn't fit who I am, because those visuals are so important, are so key, especially nowadays. If it feels off, like if I sat here wearing like this big evening gown, you'd be like, what is going on? What is wrong with her? She does not dress like this. Being you throughout everything in your business, through your brand, is just like stacking on that credibility that you guys can count on me. I mean, if you think of my name, I hope you think that I can count on her. She's consistent. She makes me feel rock solid when I'm in her world. And that's kind of how I want to be showing up as well. And I think that's really important for all coaches across the board.
I love that. And I love your sweatshirt. I know. I'm like, you always have such cool shirts. I love them.
Oh yes,
Okay,
Etsy. That's where I like. That's where I shop.
Okay, so this is something that comes up all the time. And I know that sometimes people will kind of stop in their tracks and be like, oh, I want to become a coach, but I need a certification. I need to learn how to become this type of coach or that type of coach, or I need this certification or that certification. And what do you say about that?
Well, I think that most of the time, probably 99% of the time, I know people will hold off starting their business because they're working on their life coaching certification and they're working on this certification. So they won't even put themselves out there at all. So they go into hiding. They go from, I should start a coaching business to I need to go hide and educate myself for months or years on end before I even start. And that's a huge mistake because this world moves really fast. In real life and online, it moves even faster. Like you gotta be in this. Don't hold off showing up because you want to be in your safe space of educating yourself. I have never had one client ask me, where's your business coaching certification from? I've never had anybody ask me that. And yes, I have a degree in business, but I don't ever talk about it because really 20 years ago, everything that I learned is probably non-existent now. I think that if you want to start a coaching business, you should start. And if you want to add on things like, okay, well, I got, certified with this person or whatever, then by all means go and do that. But I don't think that that should be the reason why you start is because you're certified, because that should come after. There's so many things you could be doing right now while you're working on a certification, but it shouldn't be like, I got to stop everything because no one's going to hire me if I don't have one. I don't think that's a part of it. I think that's an excuse to stay small.
And that was the same thing with me. Like when I was a wedding photographer, right? Like nobody ever asked me where I did my training, and I'm a self-taught photographer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, right. And so our expertise comes from just living it, or, over time, you just learn the skills. And I think that you don't need that certificate or a bunch of them on the wall in order for yourself to call yourself a coach, right?
No. And I remember when I first started, I thought, oh, I should get certified in Asana and I should get certified here. And I was like, that's just holding me back from actually sharing my experience. Like people will buy your experience and your solutions, not something they can just quick Google. Like, and people are buying the juicy stuff, and that's not a part of it.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say your top tips are to help someone overcome some of those, like the imposter syndrome or their fear of, rejection or not being good enough, or,
Mm-hmm.
we want to go and become a coach. And it's like that first, like before we get that first client, right? We're like, oh, am I going to be good enough or worthy of charging, what I want to charge or what I should charge maybe?
Yeah, there's a lot there. And I think the first thing is, why do you feel that way in the first place? Did you feel that way when you started? And get those like honeymoon feelings back. How can you get that back? I don't know. What did you do can you remember? How can you make this fresh for you again? What do you need to tap back into? What do you need to remove in your life that's causing you to feel that way? Whether it's every time I go on Instagram and scroll through my feed, I feel like I'm not doing enough. Well, then stop scrolling through your feed. Every time I go and look at this person's website, I feel like crap. Then stop going and looking at that person's website. Like there's a lot of things that you are consciously doing to make yourself feel smaller, because then you don't have to do anything because you are continuously labeling yourself as someone who has imposter syndrome. So stop labeling yourself. For one, you don't have that. You're just saying you have that because you hear everyone else say that word. You're just you, okay? And if you're afraid of putting yourself out there, you're just going to have to take baby steps. You don't have to go live for an hour on Facebook while everyone watches you. Go do small things. What are those small things that you can do? I don't know. It's going to be different for everybody. I mean, I started with, I told my daughter this the other day. She's 9 now, but when she was a baby, I said I had a YouTube channel when I very first started coaching, and I would wait until you would nap, and then I would go and sit in the hallway because if I sat on the ground, the background was white because my deep freezer was behind me, and that's how I thought I had to have a video. And she was just laughing, and I said, but I started, I did it. I was so afraid to do it, but I did it. And then I did this, and then I did this. Like it's all a progression to get to speaking on podcasts and doing webinars, hundreds of webinars later on in the future. You just got to take baby steps. You're never going to move forward and grow and stretch if you don't move. You just got to move. That's the important thing. How big that step is, it's going to be up to you. But the important thing is just to keep moving.
Awesome. I love that. And like you said, baby steps, right? Like just 30 seconds of courage. Do it anyway. And it's just going to keep on getting easier. And I forget who I was talking to before, but we had this conversation about fear. And when we go and get into the uncomfortable zone, right? And I remember we called it a like a new room, like an uncomfortable room. So just like, check your surroundings and just
Mhm.
custom yourself with the things in the new room, and then it's just not going to be so scary anymore, right?
Yeah. And you're going to be okay
Yeah.
regardless. Like, you always ask yourself, if I go on Instagram and do a reel for the first time, am I going to be okay if it's a total flop? Yeah, you're going to be okay. Nothing bad is going to happen to you. If I put out a blog post and no one reads it except my mom, am I going to be okay? You're going to be okay. Nothing bad is going to happen to you. And just think how great you will feel after you hit publish, after you hit post. That's another huge step for you.
Awesome. Okay, so I want to talk about your program because I know it's made a huge difference in my life. And so like we call it SOCA, but it stands for Standout Coaching Academy. And you mentioned it earlier on when you were talking. And I know that, like typically I don't spend like the episode talking about, people's programs and stuff like that, but I feel like I have to share this program with people because it's made such a huge impact on my business and myself. And I think it's like that perfect program when you're starting your business and you want to start a coaching business, that it's the program to take. So tell us, and I know you're revamping it and you're launching it. So this episode, we're going to air it next week, which is the 19th of September. Yeah, so I know that you're relaunching a version 2.0. Is it version 2.0?
It's got to maybe even 4 or 5. I don't even know.
Right. But it's brand new, has been revamped. But honestly, Standout Coaching Academy, it was that program that helped me create my coaching business and propel me into the direction. It just was so helpful on along. So can you take a minute just to talk about what standout? It's such a mouthful. Let's just go with SOCA.
Yep.
Yeah, just to explain what SOCA is and how it can help us. And guys, like honestly, if you're listening to this, it's $1,000 program. But honestly, I've been part of SOCA for many years now, and I always say, like a legit, this program is worth like $10,000. So it's like really, it's such a good price point, and it's so like it's that program that you invest in that is going to make a difference. Like you're going to learn so much and you're going to be able to grow your business from this program. So tell enough. I'm like leaving you take the floor.
Well, thank you. You're always like the best student ever. And I think the best student is the ones who completely immerse themselves in programs and do it to see how it works for them. And I know that you've done that. And so I appreciate all your love for that, because Stand Up Coaching Academy has been around since 2018. I launched it with Violet, a baby on my hip, and I have revamped it several times since then because I believe in it and because my journey continues to grow. So after I try something for a long period of time and test it and make sure that like, this is a strong strategy, this is a good method. And after the past 5 years, I believed that I need to add this to this, because right now the coaching industry is so different than it was when I started. And I don't want somebody to come in and think, this gives me 2018 vibes. This has 2023 vibes. So this is going to take you from, okay, I want to become a coach. Now what? Here's what you're going to do. You need to have all these things set up. Go do those. And then while you're setting up all of these things, I'm also going to show you how to create and sell low ticket offers while you're building your business. Then I'm going to take you through the phase of getting set up for clients and bringing clients in, not just with discovery calls and sales calls, because I know that's not a thing for everybody. I've evolved my way out of that. And so I'm teaching you alternative ways to get clients and bring them into your world. Then we're going to go into the process of you scaling your business with a signature program like Standout Coaching Academy. It's a 90-day process. It used to be a 90-day process. I changed it. Now it's back to it because I want to hold people accountable to finishing this, because this is the real deal. This is like copying and pasting my entire coaching journey since 2015 and putting it into a program. It is the real deal. So I want you guys to do this with me. So that's why it's going to be in 30 different phase chunks, and there's support in the Facebook group as you go. But this could be huge for you if you are just starting, or maybe you did start and you're feeling like it's kind of messy, like I need some structure here. Then go join Standout Coaching Academy. It's going to keep you accountable, and you're actually going to see results while you work through the program, not just at the end, like so many other programs out there.
I know, it's honestly like it's such an incredible program. Should they just go to lindsaymaloney.com, or you can also go standoutcoachingacademy.com, right?
Yeah, you can go to both. Either one is good.
Okay, so I'm going to put the links for that in the show notes, of course. And while you're at it, while you're visiting Lindsay on her website, you can check out her resources, her free resources, which she has like so many of them, and you have free master classes and so many amazing freebies. And also your Instagram presence is incredible, because you're always sharing so many good tips and tricks, and you're so positive, right? So I love learning from you, because you're always looking at the positive side of things, which we have to do, right, in order to move forward in our journeys. So definitely follow Lindsay on Instagram. And how else can they work with you if someone listening and they're like, "Ooh, I'm really vibing with Lindsay"? How else can we work with you, Lindsay?
Well, I have a digital product suite for coaches that you guys will love. And they're all low ticket. So you can go and buy one or buy 12. It doesn't matter. There's a ton of them in there. And then if you want to be in my world and get new things delivered to you every month, you can join the Confident Coach Club. It's only $5. So I have things for everybody at every price point, because I believe in helping everybody in wherever they are in their journey with starting. So just go to lindsaymaloney.com. You'll find what you want.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lindsay. It's been such a great conversation. And I think like it was an accumulation, and I'm sure you get these emails like this all the time, or comments like this all the time. So I think that it was really a good chat to have, to kind of, answer some of these questions that people have or ask themselves all the time. So thanks again for being you. Thanks for being on the podcast. I love and appreciate you so much.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's always good talking to you.
You're so welcome. And guys, if you're listening to this and you're like, "Ooh, like Lindsay, you have a challenge starting, right? What date is your challenge starting at?"
The challenge starts on September 25th. It's called Calling All Clients. I'm going to give you one task every day to get closer to clients. You could even book one that same day. And it's really simple, really easy stuff that you can do. It's stuff that I've done that's brought me clients, and I'm giving it all to you.
Amazing. So I'll put the show note up. I mean, we can find that link on your website too, right?
I will give you the link.
Okay.
Just to have it.
Okay, we'll put it in the show notes. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lindsay. It's been amazing talking to you as always. And
thank you, Julie.
You're welcome. So if you're listening to this episode, I will see you in the next episode, or talk to you. Listen. I'm recording my summit right now as well. So it's like, if you're watching this or listening,
I'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, I'll see you on the next one. That's a good thing. Ciao.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Build Your Beautiful Business podcast. If you did, please make sure to subscribe, rate, and review the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Julie's included a link in the shows to make it nice and easy for you. And if you want to create a beautiful, profitable business of your own, make sure to go unlock your access to Julie's 6 must-have resources for female entrepreneurs. These resources will help you build and grow your business with simplicity and ease. You can find them at juliecbutler.com/freebie vault. We'll see you in the next episode.